Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey and welcome back to another episode discussing hobby drama. Now, this was actually meant to come out way before now, but I've been swept up with the other videos I've been planning, and also this is the first episode that I'm actually recording on my fancy new mic, so hey, hopefully it was worth the wait. So my little couplings of the teaser, if there are two things you'll know about me, you'll know that I'm transgender and I freaking love Neopets. So as soon as I found out about this story where some transphobic bigot who couldn't keep their nasty opinions to themselves accidentally caused like a small mini queer revolution within Neopets. It's such an amazing story, I knew that I absolutely had to cover it, so I wanted to thank the user iamnotawindmill on Reddit again for letting me use their story. They were also the person that wrote the story behind my previous episode on Neopets drama, so be sure to check that out, and a huge thank you to them for giving me permission to cover this story. So without any further ado folks, let's have a look at the legacy of Wifemas 2020, or how a transphobic Grinch accidentally caused a Christmas miracle for LGBT Neopets players. About Neopets. If you grew up in early 2000s America, and the UK, you probably know what Neopets is. So here, OP actually goes into what Neopets is and how it came about. A very similar description was on the first episodes regarding Neopets drama to do with rare pets and how that came about. But all you need to know is that Neopets is a virtual pet simmer where you can adopt these fantasy animals and you can play games with them, get outfits for them, read books to them, battle with them, all of that stuff. The main interest, other than actually collecting the pets and dressing them up, was to explore Neopia in a Flash-based world, which, RIP Flash. RIP. But another thing that you can do is talk on the bare bones and heavily censored forums. Now, the heavily censored forums are going to be the main focus of this particular story. You have to bear in mind that most people on Neopets now are people in their 20s and 30s. Most of us, like OP of the original write-up and myself, are, adults that are just chasing that nostalgia fix of remembering what it was like to get our first USL when we were 7. Seriously folks, I actually had my parents write a letter to Neopets to give me permission to use the forums when I was 11, because you had to get parental permission, written parental permission if you were under 12. That was the kind of cool kid I was. While some things on Neopets have been updated, most of the site has stayed the same. The forums, in particular, are especially outdated. Certain words are banned entirely regardless of the characters around them. For example, one cannot say basement because it contains the word semen. Despite Neopets having an almost entirely adult user base, the filters and rules are targeted entirely towards the younger audience. Breaking the rules on forums can result in a silence, essentially making it so that a player cannot send mails or post on the boards. Silencing can range from a 24-hour warning to indefinite. The Pound Chat. Forum boards number 34 is the Pound Chat, aka the PC, a place primarily used to trade or gift Neopets. One very important rule is that Neopets cannot be exchanged for Neopoints, items, or Neocash. Neopoints being the in-game currency, and then Neocash being the premium currency. The stuff you gotta pay actual moolah for, Only Neopets can be exchanged for other Neopets. The most coveted Neopets are the unconverted Neopets, aka the UCs, which is entirely what the last episode was on, so if you want to know what the heck that is about, then go ahead and check out that episode. Or you can go ahead and check out OP's original post if you would prefer reading it. But the TLDR is that they have old artwork and can't be created. Unconverted Neopets are in limited supply and dwindling by the day. Having one is often seen as a fairly big deal. Some people see them as status symbols, some people collect them, some people buy and sell them for real money on the Neopets black market. Yes, the Neopets black market exists, and the fact that that exists I just find, occasionally the world is it isn't such a bad place, and the fact that there is a Neopets black market is one of those little bits of societal evidence that for me proves that the world ain't so bad. Although, as OP has mentioned, participating in the Neopets black market is a bannable offence, so you might want to watch out for your account if you get involved. It makes the trading community a very hostile place. People are slow and cautious about trading, constantly paranoid that the pets they have are from hacked accounts and that staff will take them away at any time. Oh yeah, some unconverted Neopets were actually stolen from hacked accounts. Again, that is all in the last episode. I really recommend you checking out my couplings. Unconverted Neopets and other pets are sometimes adopted out, often by people leaving the site or wanting to give back to the community. The rarer pets tend to be a really big deal, receiving dozens of applications explaining why the applicant really wants that Neopet. These could include things like original artwork and short stories, theory being that the more effort you put in, the more likely someone is to adopt the pet out to you. Of course, some people prefer more low-key adoptions, simply asking a question or two and picking a random user. But these are significantly less common. Well folks, you're wondering, hey Joey, this is really interesting information to do with Neopets, but what the heck does this have to do with trans issues and a queer revolution? Well folks, we are getting there. Enter Big John's wife, male. On the night of the 12th of November 2020, a Neopets user by the name of Big John's wife made a board on the Pound Chat announcing that they would be adopting out an unconverted Tyrannian Quiggle to someone, referring to it as a growth that Big John had removed. The only instructions were how the growth would be kept in your home, whether it be locked in a jar of formaldehyde or brought on a vacation to Hawaii. The board didn't get too hectic. An unconverted Tyrannian Quiggle is an uncommon but ugly pet. Excuse me, I actually find like the more ugly pets to be the cuter. I'm weird. I'm weird. Just accept that, folks. My favourite Neopet is a blue Maru in a website where Ussels, Shoirus, and Mirkas, and freaking Zafaras all exist, so I don't know what you're expecting from me. Okay, so the unconverted Tyrannian Quiggle is not in high demand at all, but Big John's wife also signed their name as Big John's wife male, which will be relevant later. I think you folks already know where we're going with this. The next day, a new account appeared called Nana's Pretty Pets, this time adopting out an unconverted sponge Kiko while role-playing as a kindly grandma. Seriously, she gave OP a strawberry candy item for posting on the board. The instructions this time around were to create customization featuring the colours white, pink, and blue, in order to celebrate Big John's chest growth removal surgery. The Kiko was also mentioned as having drunk a strange potion, which is an item that changes a Neopet's gender. I go the traditional way and I get my Neopet's gender changed using the lab zapping ray, but that's a story for another time. As a slightly more popular and rarer pet, this board got a little bit more attention. One sticking point is that discussing sexuality or gender identity on the Neo boards was against site rules. This isn't often enforced, but there was also some fear from LGBT+ Neopets players about discussing their partner or gender. Players with Neopets characters may describe two women in a relationship as best friends just out of fear of having their accounts silenced. It's an odd rule considering that a while back an other gender option was added for players and that the 2018's advent calendar contained an animation of two Ocrins who are implied to be transgender. I did actually speak about this in the last episode as well. I absolutely loved this little Easter egg, ironically during the Christmas advent calendar, because, you know, it follows that standard kind of gender rule in animation in that any character is male unless they have eyelashes, in which they are female. So they had like an Ogrin with eyelashes dressing in traditionally male clothes, and then an Ogrin without eyelashes dressing up in a dress, and then they go and see each other and they're happy and it's nice. I love it so much. Like, it's just it was like a really small thing, but I legit gasped when I saw it. Like a 28, well no, I would have been 26, so a 26-year-old man freaking gasped at Neopets. Neopets advent calendar animation, and if that doesn't like just show the effect that trans representation has on us, I don't freaking know what will. But anyway, back to how the queer revolution started on Neopets. Of course, despite the rules saying that we weren't allowed to talk about LGBT+ issues, the board was still filled with cheers of trans rights, but as far as I know, nobody was reprimanded. For the most part, people try to dance around the issue and refer to things with tongue-in-cheek terms. We all know we're celebrating a trans man getting top surgery, but as long as there's some plausible deniability, we can't get silenced, right? I think Nana's Pretty Pets and Big John's wife may have adopted out another pet or two during this time, but they vanished until December. Wifemas 2020. On the 12th of December 2020, Big John's wife Male announced Wifemas, an event in which he would be adopting out at least one unconverted Neopet every day until Christmas. There were a variety of boards, from getting the first letter with the species/colour of a pet, playing hangman, to asking applicants to create a character application in just a few hours. OP actually did that last one and was given an unconverted Desert Aisha! That is so cool! I'm so happy for OP. It's wound up being a really wholesome time, giving us a nice break from the usual monotony of trading. When asked where he got the pets, Big John's wife Mel explained that he found them while searching in the pound using the spreadsheet method, which is something that was talked about in the last episode. He'd been saving up a big list of unconverted to adopt out over the holidays and had been planning the event for a few months. Edit. While some users had theorised that the two were related, this appears to be thoroughly debunked. Then, one night, Big John's wife Mel didn't post. Someone made a board asking what happened to Big John's wife Mel and Wifemas. Was the event still on, or had something happened? Nana's Pretty Pets responded to explain that she would be running tonight's adoption, and that Big John's wife had been silenced for 48 hours for saying, "I'm grey and I can't do math." And, folks, if you are wondering how being grey could get you banned, if it's talking about LGBT subjects, then that can actually stand for grey asexual or grey aromantic, which is actually how I identify. Woohoo! As Nana's Pretty Pets ran her adoption board, the PC erupted in both outrage and encouragement. The theory became that another user, who I won't name since this is not confirmed, had been called out earlier in the day for a number of reasons, one of which was for being transphobic. The theory was that she had reported Big John's wife Male for talking about trans subjects on the boards. Whatever the case may be, the gossip continued and arguments broke out. Then, Nana's board was deleted. A new one was created with the allegedly transphobic user returning to call people haters and post passive-aggressive smiley faces every few posts. Aww, I've dealt with transphobes like that. She said something to the effect of calling LGBT plus people rule breakers for discussing their own existences, to which Nana's Pretty Pet said, maybe the rules should be changed. For the rest of the night, people across the Pound Chat forum boards changed their signatures to pride flags, spread warmth and kindness, gifted each other rainbow items, and generally had a good time. The next day, TNT, or the Neopets team, has declared war on rainbows, read one board post. After a few people from the previous night's event had been silenced, possibly for unrelated issues, the Pound Chat discussed what to do next. People flocked to Twitter, Facebook, and even Neopet support to tell the staff that, hey, it's 2020, I should be able to talk about being LGBT on the Neo boards without fear of silencing. And the staff listened! That afternoon, the 18th of December, the new Neopian Times went up, including an editorial section that explained that users are now free to discuss their own sexuality and gender identity. Banned words like gay, lesbian, and queer are planned to be removed from the filters in the new year, and there's even discussion of allowing other gender Neopets to be created. Formerly banned names have also been dropped in the pound and picked up by current users. The community erupted in joy, including coming out boards and discussions of LGBT Neopets OCs. Gutterfoot, a staff member, even posted on the board to say, Team Illudora for life, which is a popular ship between the fairies Illusion and Jadora, which is actually something I shipped ever since I was a little kid. I'm not even going to pretend I didn't. The aftermath. Right now, we can't say exactly where this will lead us. Discussing things like politics is still against the rules, but discourse will always occur. Just recently, there was a discussion on the boards about whether or not the word queer is an appropriate blanket term. Some users have snatched up LGBT+ related Neopets in hopes of trading them for higher tier unconverteds, which seems a little exploitative to me. Not gonna lie, it seems exploitative to my queer ass as well. The user who may have tried to get Big John's wife, Male, banned is still active and posting on the boards. It seems she was silenced for a short period, but not indefinitely, which is a shame. I mean, it doesn't matter if they were just trying to enforce rules. If they're clearly freaking queer-phobic rules, then come on, Neopets team, come on! You can't allow that kind of homophobic reporting, even if it was technically within the rules, come on. But in the end, it's a huge win. There's a lot of love in the air right now. We all get to celebrate being LGBT+ this holiday season, or rather last holiday season, and also these Neopets are trans. Hell yeah! Well folks, that is the story of how a transphobic bigot accidentally caused a queer revolution on Neopets, which just, this hit like so many buttons of things I absolutely freaking love to talk about. It was transness, it was Neopets, it was beautiful, and absolutely when like bigots have it like turned against them, and like the fact that this bigot meant that all LGBT+ terms were like unbanned instead of banning LGBT people it's just like, it's a beautiful irony. It's something that I absolutely freaking adore. A fair bit has actually changed on Neopets recently, as you'll probably be seeing now from what I'm playing. There is like a new beta website because, oh my goodness, Flash. Okay, so Flash has now gone, and as a result, things like Mirka Chase, you can't freaking play Mirka Chase anymore. They've only just moved over some of the wheels. Like, there's a lot that's still being converted to non-Flash format. But as you can see, a lot is changing, and I do think that it's quite interesting that we weren't actually able to say, hey, I'm a trans guy and this is my account on Neopets. Like, but you could, like, there were characters that were canon trans. Like, Neopets, why did it take you this long to catch up with your user base? And of course people playing a freaking online pet game that you could dress them up a queer. I mean, come on, like, this is queer culture. Like, I don't know about you folks, but whenever I go out and play, well, maybe not now that we're in lockdown, but back when I was playing Pokemon Go, like, it could have been Pride. Like, the amount of times I ended up in, like, a group of loads of different trans friends, just because we all happened to be out playing Pokemon at the same time. It was absolutely freaking beautiful. Anyway, folks, this was like a really nice, like, wholesome, positive, like, queer trans story. I wanted to, like, bring something nice and positive because I realised that when I talk about trans issues, it's mostly me, like, debunking freaking transphobes and fighting gender critical stuff. So I really wanted something nice. I was hoping to do this, like, shortly after Christmas. It was a little bit later, but hey, I hope it was worth the wait. I really enjoyed looking at this story. If you enjoyed hearing about it, then please let me know. If you want me to talk about, like, more obscure drama, like to do with freaking Neopets or whatever, like, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Like, I really enjoy hearing what you folks think, so thank you ever so much if you made it this far. Well folks, that is it for this episode of Hobby Drama, and like I said, if you would like to hear about more obscure drama, more like little things that you might not have heard about before, then go ahead and let me know in the comments. I would love to know what you think. Also, if any of you actually still play Neopets or still play any kind of game that you played when you were a kid, like maybe not Club Penguin, but maybe I touched a nerve there, but if there are any games that you still play, like, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know about the little hobbies you folks have. And don't forget folks, if you would like to become part of the T-set, then all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, and if you want to help me out, then giving this video a like really does. And if you would like to help me out even further, then you can become a Patreon for as low as £2 a month, where you can unlock exclusive content. And until then folks, I will see you all next time.